One card just changed this whole deck again with Examon. And it is so good. So we have the promo Dracomon here. That's not the important card. It's one of the important pieces. But you started your turn, you have your best tamer in the deck, Davis, because of the searching. Now you're going to go into the Dracomon X antibody for free over Dracomon. Now you have two routes you can go. You can either do his one Digivolving and Digivolve into Cordramon for free, or you cannot, and now the promo inherit. When you play a Groundramon, you can Digivolve this Digimon into Wingdramon for free. So now instead of paying like 10 to do all the stuff, you just pay 7. It's a big difference. But if we go that route, you play the Groundramon. Now the Groundramon, you suspend a Digimon or a Tamer, and they don't unsuspend. Now the promo here, the inherit triggers, go into Wingdramon for free. Now you can pop a level Digimon with 6,000 DP or less. And now, more importantly, you finally have, with the Dracomon X antibody, end of your turn, this Digimon may DNA with another Digimon. Basically, going to your Examon now. So now we're going to go into Examon, and because of that, now we're really going to focus more on running the OG Examon, because, yeah, you'll see why. So now you have that Examon. Examon, when you do DNA, you can tuck in a Digimon with Dramon in its name, 12,000 DP or less. In this case, we're actually going to do the new Slayer Dramon, because now the inherit of that Slayer Dramon is going to give it protection. When it will get deleted, you can suspend, and then it doesn't leave the battle area. So it's kind of like a pseudo evade. More importantly, then you want to play the Breaker Dramon. This Breaker Dramon gives one of your Digimon basically rush. Not rush, blitz. So now we did all that stuff. I forgot to do it with the memory. So we played it for 7. So now your opponent's at 4. Swing. You get security attack +1. You get to draw. And now this one, when you do suspend, you get to unsuspend and suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. And now you have technically evade here. So that is one of the combos that you could do now with this new Examon. And it's pretty wild. Let's get into this deck profile. Someone was asking where I got these deck boxes from. I make all this myself. I have a link down in my Etsy shop in the description below if you're interested in checking any of this stuff out that you see, counters and deck boxes and more. We are playing the BT20 Babydomon. You could play the old one if you're trying to go more for attack power, DP, but no, what? No, sorry, I know, Altart on top. But draw power is really nice. I think it's better, especially when attacking. You could draw into a card that you're missing. So, sticking with that one. Let's just jump right into it and talk about the Dracomon X antibody. This card is everything. You want to open with this. You want to get this card in your hand as fast as possible. So it has, you Digivolve for 1 over the Babydomon, which you could see it as a double-sided sword, especially if you're starting off and you don't have anything else. Your player 1. Or you get what I'm saying. You start first, Digivolve for 1, and now your opponent will start at 1. That's kind of good. It kind of works out because then it does have a start of your main phase on top of the when Digivolving. You can Digivolve into Cordramon from your hand for free without paying the cost, which is awesome. So now you're kind of bypassing a level because now you'll just go from 4 and then you go to 5, which can help set up with that ace if you don't have the pieces that you need to DNA, which leads on to the inherit here, end of your turn. This Digimon and any of your other Digimon may DNA Digivolve into a Digimon card in the hand. This is beautiful. This is what this deck needed. We did have it with the level 5s before, but it was during your turn only where they can be used for Examon, if I'm not mistaken. The second, all these Dracomons you really need, in my opinion. The promo one is fairly good. Digivolve for 0 over the Babydomon. Then your turn, if you play a Groundramon, this Digimon can Digivolve into Wingdramon for a cost of 3, ignoring the requirements. The inherit is the same, except you don't pay for the Digivolution into Wingdramon, which is why, in the beginning, this is very important. You have this, and then you just Digivolve for 0. And now you can just Digivolve into the Wingdramon for free when you play a Groundramon, as opposed to playing for 3. And the Searcher Dracomon from EX3, which this card is just beautiful. Revealing 4 cards, adding 1 Digimon with Examon in its name, and then 1 card with with Dramon in its name. You can't pick up Dracomons And I think that's it. You just can't pick up any level 3s, which could suck, especially if you end up revealing this one and you really needed it to DNA at the end of the turns. Then here for this one, all turns when one of your Digimon with Dracomon or Examon in its name becomes suspended, this Digimon gets 1000 DP for the turn. So when you do swing, you will get that extra DP. When you block, you'll also get that extra DP, so it works out. 4 of the Cordramon from BT20. Love this one. You Digivolve for 2 for free with the Dracomon X antibody. You'll Digivolve, and then it has jamming, so right away you'll just... And then if you're going to DNA, this is a free chip. Free chip no matter what because of the jamming. Your turn. When any of your green Digimon with Dracomon or Examon in its text are played, this Digimon may Digivolve into Wingdramon in the hand with the reduced cost by 2. So that's another way you can do it as well. Inherit during your turn. This Digimon gets 2000 DP. Then we have the other one, that's the red and green one. This one has Raid. This one is it's better for the red Dracomon that came out in BT20 because you get the extra 2000 DP and now you can swing for 7000 and raid into it. You can still raid into Floodgates, which I think can be very good. And then your turn, same thing as the whole thing. You play a blue Digimon with Dracomon or Examon in its text, and then this Digimon can Digivolve into Groundramon for reduced cost of 2. Then here it gives you 2000 DP. Pretty straightforward. And then I'm doing a split. We're doing one of the Cordramon from EX3 that has evade, and it gives inherit evade to Digimon with Examon or Dramon in its name. Because the old Examon does not have evade, so it has no way to protect itself, so then here it can come in handy. But the new Slayer Dramon kind of gives him that. It gives him protection, which we'll get into when I get into it. And then one of the blocker Cordramon, because the Examon, the old one, doesn't have blocker either, and it would be nice to be able to block. So I have been playing around with these 2 slots. I was doing 2 of the blue ones, but now I'm trying because, just in case I want a blocker. More importantly, we're doing splits, and I guess I'll just talk about this card right away. We're doing splits, 1 blue and 1 green, because I am going back to playing 1 Pyodramon, because sometimes you don't have all the pieces you need to go into Examon, but you have 2 champions. So then being able to just DNA for free, suspend all your opponent's Digimon with as many or fewer Digivolution cards as his Digimon, then if you DNA, none of their Digimon can unsuspend until the end of their turn. More importantly, you have Partition, so when it would get deleted, you spit out the 2 level 4s. It only works if you actually have the 2 level 4s. When attacking, suspend one of their Digimon. If you didn't suspend one of their Digimon, you unsuspend. So it's basically a double hitter. Partition, give Examon Partition in case it gets popped. Bring out the Cordramon's back. Digivolve into a Wingdramon or Groundramon. Set yourself up to blast the next turn. So it has its uses, but just that one. And like I said, that's why I play 1 of the green and 1 of the blue Cordramons, just to balance out the colors in case I do go into that one. 4 of the BT20 Wingdramon, on play when Digivolving, pop a Digimon with 6000 DP or less, and then it's all turns treated as Slayer Dramon for Examon's DNA Digivolution. Inherit has security attack +1, which will obviously make the deck aggressive. And then 4 of the other Ground Dramon from BT20, on play when Digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. Then they don't unsuspend. All turns, it is treated as a Breaker Dramon during DNA. I like this one, like after you swing with the chip with jamming, Digivolve into Groundramon, suspend one of their Digimon, so now when you do that whole DNA going to Examon, and then bring out the Breaker Dramon allowing Examon to swing, you could swing at that suspended Digimon that you suspended with Groundramon. So pretty cool. And then you could trigger his Inherit here, which is all turns, when this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle, trash the top card of the security stack. It is once per turn only. So as I'm doing with level 5s, it is 9. You could leave the Pyodramon there, you can take it out. Up to you. Let's go ahead and run those level 6s. Start with the Breaker Dramon. I'm sticking to ratios of 3s only because the searching, and you really use level 5s to DNA anyway. But this Breaker Dramon is just beautiful. So it has blocker. You can Digivolve over Ground Dramon or Wing Dramon for 3. It has an on-play when Digivolving, suspend 2 of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers, then one of your Digimon may attack. That is very important for the new, for the old Examon, or the new one. Doesn't matter. Point is, when you do DNA during your turn, you want to play this Breakerdramon with the old Examon, and now you can give that new Examon the ability to attack. Now he attacks. All turns, when any of your Digimon with Dracomon or Examon in their text delete your opponent's Digimon in battle, delete one of their suspended Digimon or Tamers. So it's just nice. You suspend the Digimon from the on play of this one. Swing with the swing with the Examon, pop the Digimon, and then the Inherit, which is the same as all turns. And then you pop their suspended Tamer that you suspended with the Breaker Dramon. I dropped the old Slayer Dramon for the new one because of the Inherit. This has Piercing. It has an on-play when Digivolving. Trash 3 Digivolution cards of one of your opponent's Digimon. Then you can delete one of their Digimon with no sources. All turns, when your opponent's security stack is removed from one of your Digimon with Dracomon or Examon in its text, it may unsuspend. So it works with this one too. If you want to swing, you have the security attack +1 with the Wing Dramon. Remember, after I talked about this in Medusa. If you haven't seen that Medusa video, go watch it. So after you flip the security, if it's an option card, the option card triggers. If it's a Digimon, it's kind of, now you resolve your effects. So now in this case, it got removed, so it unsuspend. So now if it has evade, and for example, this is like a 15k Examon and you're at 14, now you can do evade and you can protect yourself. And then that security attack +1 will still go through if it has security attack +1. Very important for that. The Inherit. All turns. Once per turn, when any of your Digimon with Dracomon or Examon in their text would leave the battle area, other than in battle, by suspending this Digimon, don't leave. That's beautiful. I think that's better than evade, because evade just states if your Digimon will be deleted, prevented from leaving. This is just if it would leave. So if they try bouncing your Examon, or bottom decking it, or putting in security, they can't. Because then you'll just suspend it and then he remains on the field. So that's why I'm going in with that new Slayer Dramon. The old Slayer Dramon, you want to force them to attack you on their turn, which will really, that kind of helps trigger the blasting Examon, which we're really not focusing on because we're focusing more on DNAing during our turn. I was running it at 4, but space. And you can if you want. When Digivolving, you may place one green or blue Digimon card with Dramon in its name from your hand under this Digimon as its bottom Digivolution card. That is beautiful because you can give it blocker, you can give it evade, you can give it DP, you can give it when it deletes something, trash opponent security, you can give it security attack +1, you can give it partition if you DNA, you can give it protection. You can, with the Breaker Dramon, but this one you want to play. But anyway, point is, that's how you kind of give it effects. And then if you DNA'd, you can play a Digimon, one green or blue Digimon card with a Dramon in its name, and 12,000 DP or less from your hand without paying its memory cost. So that's when you do the whole tuck in and then bring out Breaker Dramon, and then you can swing. All turns. Once per turn, when this Digimon becomes suspended, unsuspended, and suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. So good. Because if you'll swing at security, suspend their Digimon, unsuspend, and you can swing into it if you want. So you can definitely... It's really good too when you do have blocker in it, because if it has blocker and then it blocks, it suspends, and if they have another Digimon, you can suspend that other Digimon and unsuspends. So that can kind of help you maintain or not lose if they just needed like 2 checks to win. Really good card. I'm still doing 2 of the Ace because it is still very good. If you don't have the Dracomon where you can DNA at the end of the turn, or even then, this Examon, if you don't have the Breaker Dramon and you just play a level 5, if I can find it, you just play a level 5, boom, now you delete something when you DNA. And if they attack, now you're set up to blast. So long as you have the requirements, right? If you have a Breaker Dramon, if you have a Brown Dramon, either of those 2 in your hand, now you can blast. And now you have the blocker. And now you can when you digivolve. If the innate digivolving, return all of your opponent's Digimon with the highest DP to the bottom of the deck. All turns once per turn, when any of your Digimon unsuspend, when any Digimon suspend, this Digimon may unsuspend. So you can delete a Digimon and then their attack again, and now you can block. So this has Raid, Piercing, Blocker, and Evade. So here's your blocker. You can trigger the alterns from Breaker Dramon or Ground Dramon. He unsuspends. You basically have 2 blockers. So that's why this one is very good, because it could just help you bring out 2 Examons in almost 2 turns, basically. Now let's talk about the new one. New Examon X Antibody. Could it have been better? Yes. I think, like, it's good enough, but come on, like, make them fucking broken, dude. Like, make them like Magnamon X Antibody. Like, just make them busted, okay? Like, make them so busted they, like, limit it to 1. Why? Why can't we have that? Anyway, okay. You digivolve for 2 over Examon. Then it has Piercing, Blocker, and Evade. Cool. When digivolving, suspend all of your opponent's Digimon and Tamers. That would have been beautiful. Well, that is beautiful. Then delete one of their suspended Digimon or Tamers. Why can't you just delete everything? Be broken. But to me, it's like it should have suspended them and then they can't unsuspend. Like, just lock the board at least for a turn. That would have made it like good, you know? So the piercing comes up when you do Digivolve and you suspend a Digimon. All turns, once per turn, when this Digimon suspends, it unsuspends. Then if Examon or X Antibody is in its sources, trash your opponent's top security card. Really nice, because essentially your opponent has to have that. You swing into a Digimon. Because you suspended it. That's piercing. First, you unsuspend, so you trash one. And then the piercing goes through, second check, and now you can just end game. That's kind of essentially what you want to do with this. You can technically do three attacks with the Examons, because they're all unsuspend. So this one, you swing, unsuspend, then you digivolve, and then you swing, unsuspend, and swing. Same thing with that one. So it's pretty good. I have it at 2 just because I do want to see it. 1, you're probably never going to see it. It might be in security. It might be in like the middle of your deck. It might be in the bottom. So 2, just for consistency and to see it. Davis is still the best tamer to have. I want to run it at 4, but the Dracomon help you search, so it's good enough. I did take out Lanamons, the hybrids. You can tech those back in if you don't want to put in the Pyodramon. So this one, when you play it, reveal 3 cards from your deck, add 1 blue and 1 green Digimon. That's 2 cards, 2 hits. I don't need to say anything else from it, but it leaves you at 3, which is what you want. And then 3 Wisteria Boost. Same thing as the Davis, but you can get 1 blue card and one red card. It's the only card you wouldn't be able to get, which is why you would probably stick to the other one, is the blocker Cordramon. You wouldn't be able to pick this one up with this. And then delay, gain to memory, security, place this card in the battle area. Let's get into some more combos here. For starting off, usually you want to have one of these cards in your hand when you start off, because you want to search and you just want to get the ball rolling. The faster you get pieces in your hand, the faster the match is going to be. Obviously, right? I just want to see how far. I want you to see how far we can go with this. We have the Tamer. We have just one Wisteria. We have the Dracomon. And you know, I already talked about that one in the beginning. Let's just say we have the new one. We did pay for one, but you know, whatever. The Davis, now it's our turn. You get it. So, let's move up. I'm going to trigger it when starting your main phase, and I'm just going to Digivolve. So I'm going to go into Cordramon for 0. I'm going to swing, I have Jamming. When attacking, this Digimon has Dracomon or Examon, get to draw 1. So now we're drawing. And now, oh, look at that. I actually got a Groundramon. Beautiful. Let's play out the Groundramon for 7, leave my opponent at 4. And now, end of the turn, we may... Well, I guess it goes here and here, right? So now, this one, when you played it, you can Digivolve into the Wingdramon or reduce cost, so basically 1. Boom, do that. That's if you don't have the promo. So now that's where that promo comes in handy, where you want it. Pop 1, DNA. Let's go into our boy Examon for 0. Do that. And if you would have done the Wisteria, you're leaving your opponent at 3. So we'll tuck in Slayer Dramon underneath. And we'll bring out Ground Dramon. Now we can attack. Swing, security attack +1. Let's just set their security right here. Right, they have 5 security. It's just whatever. So now, security attack +1. There's 1, 2. You unsuspend. And now it's your opponent's turn. They're at 3 security. They try to get rid of it. You have the Slayer Dramon. He unsuspends. You suspend a Digimon. So now the Digimon gets suspended. And they try getting rid of it again. Well, it gets deleted. So okay, so now they did all that stuff. They couldn't get rid of it. They have a suspended Digimon. You're back at 3. Hatch, you do all your stuff. Now you can swing into it here if you want to trigger the... I guess you can do that. But I'm just going to go straight for the security because we got security attack +1. You unsuspend. Say they did manage to delete the Breaker Dramon. Now here, you are back at... You're still at 3. Go into the Examon. Suspend all their Digimons and Tamers. Go here, Piercing. Trash 1. I would trash it. I wouldn't even go for that. Just to protect yourself in case it's an option or whatever it is. Then it unsuspends and then you got game. Another thing I do want to talk about is if you don't have the Ground Dramon, the Breaker Dramon to play, you can actually play 2 Slayer Dramons. Or you can tuck in Partition or Evade, and then you can bring out the Slayer Dramon. It's your turn, you have a Slayer Dramon. Swing, unsuspend from his own effect, suspend a Digimon, draw, do what you gotta do. We got 1, 2. Swing again, 1. As soon as that one gets removed, you can trigger this, and now it unsuspends. Continue checking the security attack +1. Swing again, and you can close out here. Or, that's when you go into the X antibody, and then you close out as well. If for some reason they had 6 security stacked, and you did swing with the unsuspend, swing with their Slayer, go through it, gets deleted, now go for 2. And now you can swing, you have Examon underneath, you trash 1, because it unsuspends, and then you close. This deck is so fun. I'll see you guys in the next one.